Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nihayati Putri Suseno. Here, I will explain about word and culture. First, relationship between word and culture. The exact nature of the relationship between language and culture has fascinated and continues to fascinate people from a wide variety of background. That there should be some kind of relationship between the sounds, word, and syntax of a language and the ways in which speakers of that language experience that world and behave in it seem so behaviors as to be tourism. It would appear that the only problem is deciding the nature of the relationship and finding suitable ways to demonstrate it. And B. Worf. This claim has intrigued many anthropologists and linguistics, and there is a fairly extensive literature concerning it. That claim that the structure of language influences how its speaker view the word is today most usually associated with the linguist Sapir and his student Worf. Those who find this hypothesis attractive argue that the language a person speaks affects that person's relationship to the external world in one or more ways. This kind of distinction may also have an effect on how speakers learn to deal with the world, etc. They can have consequences for both cognitive and cultural development. And then, kinship. One interesting way in which people use language in daily living is to refer to various kinds of kin. It is not surprising, therefore, that there is a considerable literature on kinship terminology, describing how people in various parts of the world refer to relatives by birth or descent and marriage. Kinship systems are a universal feature of language because kinship is so important in social organization. Next, taxonomy. A folk taxonomy is a way of classifying a certain part of reality so that it makes some kind of sense to those who have to deal with it. Typically, such taxonomies involve matters like naturally occurring flora and fauna in the environment, but they may also involve other matters too. See Berlin, 1992. A. Color. Our world is a world of color, but the amount of color varies from place to place and time to time. A January flag from Acapulco, Mexico to Toronto, Canada takes one from a sun-drenched ray of colors to gray darkness, except to dust blinded to it. Color is all around, but it is not everywhere treated in the same way. The terms people use to describe color give us another means of exploring the relationship between different language and culture. F. Prototype. Roach proposed the concept are best viewed prototypes. A bird is not best defined by reference to a set of features that refer to such matter as wing, boldness, and egg-laying characteristics, but rather by reference to typical instinct, so that a prototypical bird is something more like a robin that is like a toucan, penguin, ostrich, or even eagle. This is the theory of prototypes. As we saw in the preceding section, individuals do have ideas of typical instances of color, and these ideas are remarkably similar among various culture groups. Such similarity in views, however, is found not only in reference to birth and color. J. Taboo and euphemism. In the first case, we have instance of linguistic taboo. In the second, we have the employment of euphemism, so as to avoid mention certain matters directly. Taboo is the prohibition or forbidden is any society of behavior believed to be harmful to its member. Then it would cause them anxiety, embarrassment, or shame. Consequently, so far as language is concerned, certain things are not to be said or certain objects can be referred to only in certain circumstances. For example, only by certain people or through deliberated conclusion, etc. Euphemistically.